In this video, I'm going to show you how to make the crossover bracelet, which I believe is a pattern I made up, and my granddaughter Sierra came up with the name crossover. Alright, let's get started. What you're going to need for this is 26 A colored bands, 12 B colored bands, and 6 C colored bands. And of course a C-clip and your loom and your needle. To do this, you're going to need to reconfigure your rainbow loom into a square so it's even across the bottom. And now let's get started. First you're going to take your A colored bands, and the first one is going to go from the bottom middle pin up to the left, and your second band will go from the bottom middle pin up to the right, and then you'll keep going straight up from there all the way up to almost the end of your loom. Once you get up to the top, you're going to want to go over to the middle pin. And you want to go back to the bottom and do the same on the right side. And again, your last band, you want to go over to the middle peg. Push all your bands down. And you're going to take your B colored bands, go from the bottom up the middle, up one, and the second one will go right straight up. That's 2 up. You'll take 2 more B colored bands, one from the middle to the left and one from the middle to the right. So it should look like that. And then 2 more straight up the middle. And that's your first cross design. Now you're going to take your B colored or C colored bands, go 2 straight up the middle, 1 from the middle to the left, and another band from the middle to the right. And then the last 2 C colored bands straight up the middle. You can go back to your B colored bands. Do the same thing, 2 straight up the middle, 1 over to the left, oops, 1 over to the left, 1 over to the right, and the last 2 straight up the middle. Now you're going to take 1 more of your A colored bands and turn it into a figure 8, a capping band, and place it on the very last peg right there. So this is what it should look like when you're done looming. Now you're going to turn the loom around and we're going to start hooking the bands. You pull back your capping band, pick up your white band and loop it straight forward. Again, the second white band, you're going to loop that straight forward. Now you're going to take, on this one, you're going to take the first white band and loop it back to the left. The second white band, loop back to the right. And the third white band, you loop straight forward. And the last white band for this cross, you also loop straight forward. Again, same thing. The first two bands, you're going to loop straight forward. The first band on this peg, you're going to loop over to the left. The second band, loop over to the right. And the third band will loop straight forward, as well as the fourth band. And that's your second cross. Your third cross again. The first two bands will loop straight forward. The first band on this peg over to the left. Second band over to the right. And the third and fourth bands will loop straight forward. Now we'll go back to the beginning and loop the perimeter bands. Again, pull back your capping band. Take your first A-colored band and loop it over to the left. And then we'll loop up the left side of the loom, straight up. When you get to the crossover, be sure and pull back the crosses. Pull up your black or your A-colored band at the bottom and loop it forward. One more time, pull back the cross bands, pull up your bottom A-colored band and loop it forward. Do this until you get to the end of the loom. Be sure and pull back the cross bands and loop the A band forward. This last band you're going to loop over to the middle peg. Go back to the beginning and now we'll do the right side. Pull back that last black band on that peg and loop it over to the right. Loop them all forward. Be sure to pull back the cross bands. This is a very simple bracelet to do. Be sure and pull back the cross bands and loop it forward. Again, pull back the cross bands and loop your A band forward. And the last band, again, you're going to loop over to the middle. Now you're going to pull all these bands up to the top. Put your hook through all of the bands. Make sure you have all the bands. Take another A-colored band or whatever color you prefer. Pull it through and loop it up on your hook. Now you're ready to pull your bracelet off your loom. Because this was only done on one loom, you will have to add an extension. And to add the extension, you will take whatever bands you prefer, depending on how many extensions you need to add. I'm going to add 4. Then you'll take this off your hook, place it on your loom,